think ideas shape our thinking, and ideas give us language for our internal world and all the emotions that we experience as human beings. When we find the right idea or we find the right quote, we just have this, you just get this feeling that that's what it is, and it gives you language then to speak to yourself and to speak to others about how you feel. Hey everybody, my name's Emily, and I'm here to share with you today a quote that made somebody cry in my living room. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, this video is a reflection on that quote. The quote is from Nietzsche, who is an existential philosopher, and this video is also about the power of those ideas and just how meaningful those words on a paper can be, and then how that quote really changes everything and why it made that person on my couch emotional. So a little bit about the setting of that story, the story that I'm going to tell. I was able to go to school in Colorado Springs and be a student of philosophy, and I can't tell you how different my life was from where I grew up in Iowa, in a small town. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Colorado Springs and experience that city, that place where Pikes Peak just rises up in the west and the sunsets are orange and blue, and the Garden of the Gods with its red golden rocks is really just that. It is like a garden for the gods stretching up to the sky. And so that's the backdrop of my experience going to school. And then there was actually my experience of going to school and being a student of philosophy, constantly being exposed to these new ideas, and just the feeling that one idea, one new thought could change everything, and being around other people who saw ideas similarly. One of my best friends, her name is Trinity, and she lived in this crazy brick apartment building, and she had a 2-bedroom apartment, and both of those bedrooms were full, and her living room was full of post-it notes, of sticky notes with ideas from philosophers posted all over her walls, and thinkers, and just meaningful little tidbits of thought and ideas. And I think back, and she Airbnb'd out her second bedroom, and I think back at different people's reactions to all of the post-it notes on their walls. I remember her telling me some people would talk to her about it and say like how much that one idea or that one thought resonated with them, and how other people would just seem not to have the time or the desire to talk to her and to engage in that way, which I think all of us are both of those people at different times on different days. And so that was kind of the context of my life and being a philosophy student, and just being surrounded by these ideas that made you feel so alive. And I never want to lose touch with that. I think I have for years afterwards, but ideas are so powerful, and just words on a piece of paper, like the story that I'm here to tell you, are so incredibly powerful, and they're enough to change everything for us. I had a friend over. He was having a hard time and was telling me about some difficult things he was going through with his family. That was the context for him just telling me that he was going through a hard time a little bit. I, being the philosophy student that I was, had a lot of printed out quotes and framed quotes basically on my walls from the philosophers that moved the needle for me. And so conveniently, I had a printed out copy of this quote that I wanted to show him, that I'm pretty sure was framed in my house on my wall or something like that. And I was able to grab it and find it and show it to him, give him the chance to read it. I thought of this quote because of what he was telling me about the difficulty that he was experiencing, the emotional suffering and pain that he was going through. And so often it's our instinct as humans to just want to fix it for other people that we care about, especially, or that we don't want to see be down. And how often are we told in life, it's gonna be okay, or it's okay, and yeah, it's true, F you, it is okay. Like, whatever. That's what you want to tell people in that moment, is because it doesn't really help. It doesn't really affirm like how you're feeling in that moment, in the suffering, in the pain, in the dirty, messy work that is being a human and being alive. Like, somebody telling you that, oh, it's all going to work out, it's all going to be okay, like, it never makes it okay. It never makes you feel any better. That's why I like this quote so much. That's why I like Nietzsche so much. That's why I like philosophy so much. It's because it affirms your experience, the breadth of what it means to be a human. And so, without further ado, I'm going to read you the quote. To those human beings who are of any concern to me, who he cares about, I wish suffering, I wish desolation, I wish sickness, ill treatment, indignities. I wish that they should not remain unfamiliar with profound self-contempt, the torture of self-mistrust, the wretchedness of the vanquished. I have no pity for them, because I wish them the only thing that can prove today whether one is worth anything or not, that one endures. I think that that quote changes everything, because it provides us with permission and encouragement to affirm the value in experiencing all of those terrible things that he lists out. All of those difficult, painful emotions are a path to grow ourselves, to endure, to come out on the other side of it more able to experience happiness and joy and the profound pleasures of life. It's not that we have to suffer in order to experience the good things in life. It's that suffering is a part of life, and that no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to avoid the feelings of discomfort and displeasure. If we're constantly avoiding those things, seeking comfort and seeking pleasure at any cost, we miss out on what he says is the only thing that can prove whether we're worth anything or not, is that we're able to endure. We're able to endure the discomfort that it takes to be there for somebody when they need us, when they're crying on your couch. That you're able to endure some of life's most difficult challenges in order to live through them, in order to show up fully in them, and not hide yourself away from them or dread them, but to affirm them and embrace them, and to know that it's a fundamental part of being a human being. And yes, it's going to serve you in ways where you can experience joy and pleasure and all of the beautiful things in life in more contrast and more vibrancy, having gone through difficult experiences, but also in just affirming the value in those difficult experiences in themselves, because it's a part of what it is to be living life and to have this broad range of emotions that we have. I think to deny suffering and to not deny the uncomfortable feelings that we experience at different times in our lives is to deny those different times of our lives. It's to deny a huge part of what it means to be a human and to be alive. I think that quote changes everything. I think that quote changes the way that we can see suffering and approach it. And it made my friend emotional that day on the couch, because everything that he was going through with his family, whatever that situation was affirmed by that Nietzsche quote. It was affirmed that to Nietzsche, anybody that he cares about, he knows that they need to go through those things because they're alive, and to avoid them is to pay the biggest price that none of us want to pay. It's sacrificing the most vibrant, rich experiences of life for comfort and just mundane consistency. And the other side of that is the price that you have to pay to go through all that shit. But it's the only thing, Nietzsche says, that proves whether one's worth anything or not these days, is that one endures, and one's ready to endure, and you embrace not only the thriving moments of your life, but the moments where the only thing that you can do is endure. And that there's value in that, but beyond that, that there's beauty in that. So this quote changes everything. It provides us with the permission and encouragement to affirm the full spectrum of our life experiences, not just wish them and a large part of what it means to be a human away. If you're drawn to these kinds of videos, please subscribe and follow along. This is the kind of content I want to keep exploring here, and I also explore this content on my Substack, What Resonates. I wrote about that this week, so please subscribe to that and follow along there as well if you like longer form introspective writing. Thanks, bye.